Hello, DeKalb County. Y'all sound like you're ready to win an election. I'm grateful to be here. I want to thank Commissioner Larry Johnson. Let's hear it for him. And I want to thank this brilliant young brother sitting behind me, next member of the Public Service Commission, Brother Daniel Blackman. Let's hear it for him. Listen, I don't want you to underestimate the importance of that election. The Public Service Commission is that part of our state government that deals with our utilities. And so make sure you vote for Daniel Blackman because he has the right perspective on their work. Tell all of your friends, you know, who are dealing with utility bills. Tell, you know, your cousin and them who got the electric bill in their children's name. I'm just talking to family, right? You know, that you can do something about it. And it's very important work, and it's connected, as he points out, to these larger issues around climate change and infrastructure. And it is work that all of us must do together at the federal level, at the state level, at the local level. And I don't know if he's still here, but I'm grateful for Brother Yusef Salaam. They called them the Central Park Five. They're the exonerated five. Let's hear it for Yusef Salaam. I'm grateful to be here with you on this beautiful Sunday afternoon in which we are standing on the precipice of a new day in Georgia and a new day in America. I'm grateful that Georgia is on everybody's mind. And come January 5th, we're going to bring it home. The nation did not see you coming on November 3rd. We kept telling them, they didn't believe us. But you made it happen. And I believe that come January 5th, you're going to seal the deal and send me and my brother from another mother, John Ossoff, to the United States Senate. Because you understand that when you vote, and if you haven't already voted, you ought to leave from this location and vote today. Vote, raise your hand if you've already voted in the runoff, Now don't fool me, it's Sunday. All right. I heard somebody say I can't vote. So you all vote for all the people who can't vote. But make sure you show up. Early voting ends on December 31st. You shouldn't go into the new year without having already cast your vote. And then election day, and we shouldn't call it election day. There's too much work to do. There's too much at stake for us to be talking about election day. It's election season. We don't wait until election day. But if you want to vote on election day, that's January 5th. And make sure everybody else you know shows up on election day. Make sure your family members vote. Make sure your friends vote. Make sure your partner votes, your husband votes, your wife votes. And if you're single and somebody asks you for your phone number, tell them I'll write it on the back of your voting card because I don't date folk who don't vote. It's time for us to get serious because there's too much at stake. I don't want you to go over the next few days thinking that you're voting for me. My name is on the ballot, But when you vote for me, you're not voting for me. You're voting for affordable health care. You're voting for a livable wage. I am a child of Georgia. I was born and raised in this state. I grew up in public housing. One of 12 children in my family. Like Brother Salam, my folks read the Bible, be fruitful and multiply. I'm number 11 out of 12 and the first college graduate in my family. I often say that I went to Morehouse College on a full faith scholarship. That means I didn't have enough money for the first semester. But I had a sense of grit, hard work, and determination. But that alone didn't get me there. Somebody gave me some Pell Grants. Somebody gave me some low-interest student loans that weren't due until I graduated. Somebody gave me a path. I'm running for the United States Senate because I look all across Georgia and it's harder for young people growing up in struggling families, whether they be in the housing projects of Savannah, Georgia, or disaffected rural communities of North Georgia. It's harder now for our children than it was for me. And so I'm running for the United States Senate because I believe that our young people and their parents deserve a United States Senator who understands that a child's parents' income ought not determine their outcome. And so I'm grateful for my family because we were short on money, but we were long on love and long on faith. And they taught me the value of hard work. My dad used to wake me up every single day, 7 days a week. He didn't care whether it was a school day or a Saturday. During the school year and the summer, he would wake you up. And that was because he didn't believe you should sleep late. And he would say, son, get up. Get dressed. Put your shoes on. Get ready. And I said, Dad, get ready for what? It's Saturday. You know, and I was just 10 years old. He said, well, I'll figure that out later. You just get ready. Be ready for whatever it is. Just be ready. Well, that was irritating and annoying when I was 11 years old and 12 years old and 13 years old. But I'm glad that my dad taught me to always show up and get dressed and put your shoes on and be ready. Because in this defining moment in American history, I'm ready. I'm ready to be your next United States Senator. I believe that Georgia is ready. And I believe that America is ready because we've been in this dark place for too long. Are you ready to win this election? And so we've got to fight for health care. You can tell what a person will do when they're in office based on what they were up to before they were even running. I'm not talking about health care because I'm running. I'm talking about health care because I actually believe that it's a human right. I don't believe you can get Kelly Loeffler to say that health care is a human right. I don't believe she believes that. Because if she did, she wouldn't be trying to get rid of your health care in the middle of a pandemic. Left to her, people with pre-existing conditions would be left uncovered. And often we use these words in politics and people just let it pass by their ear and they don't think about, well, what do you mean when you say pre-existing conditions? Let me see if I can break it down for you. Raise your hand if you know somebody, maybe you, but just if you know somebody who has diabetes. Honk if you know somebody with diabetes. Raise your hand or honk your horn if you know somebody with hypertension. If you know somebody who's had a stroke. If you know somebody with asthma. If you know somebody who's a cancer survivor. If you know somebody who's a COVID survivor. All of those folk have pre-existing conditions, and if they weaken the Affordable Care Act, if they're successful in getting rid of the Affordable Care Act, all of those folk are left vulnerable and unprotected. Kelly Loeffler seems to think that's right. I think it's wrong. What do you think? And so I've been fighting for health care for years. When we were trying to pass the Affordable Care Act, I wasn't running for anything, but I was preaching about it from my pulpit because I preach every Sunday in memory of a man who spent a lot of his ministry healing the sick, even those with pre-existing conditions. Blind Bartimaeus had a pre-existing condition. The woman with the bleeding, the hemorrhage, she had a pre-existing condition. The 10 lepers had a pre-existing condition. And so I was preaching about health care from my pulpit and saying it's a human right. And when Georgia refused to expand Medicaid in this state, leaving then 400,000 and today 500,000 Georgians in the Medicaid gap, I went to the governor's office. And I said, Mr. Governor, you must expand Medicaid in this state. It doesn't make sense not to expand Medicaid. This is money we are already paying in our federal taxes. This is not new money. If we don't expand Medicaid, all that means is we're subsidizing health care in other states while our hospitals are closing. And we've had 9 hospitals in our rural areas close in the last 10 years, in part because we've refused to expand Medicaid. And so I said to the governor, you must expand Medicaid. And because I sit in the same pulpit and preach from the same pulpit where Martin Luther King Jr. preached, I believe that you don't just preach the sermon, you have to live the sermon. And so I went to the governor's office and we had a sit-in. And they said, you have to get out of the governor's office. The Capitol Police showed up and I wasn't mad at them. They were there doing their job. I was there doing my job. And they said, if you don't clear the office, Pastor, we will have to arrest you. And what they didn't understand is that I had already been arrested. My mind and my imagination had been arrested by this idea that if my neighbor is uncovered, I'm unprotected, even if I have health care. That we are tied in a single garment of destiny. And so they carted us away that day. Not in mind, they were there doing their job. And I was there doing my job. Then in 2017, when the Congress was giving a $2 trillion tax giveaway to the richest of the rich, while taking away resources from the Children's Health Care Program, taking resources from those who need it the most in order to give it to those who needed it the least, I went to the U.S. Capitol. And since I had not been elected a United States Senator yet, could not make my argument on the floor of the Senate, I made my argument in the rotunda of the Senate. And I began to say that this budget says a lot because a budget is not just a fiscal document, it's a moral document. Show me your budget and I will show you your values. Show me a nation's budget and I will show you who you think matters and who doesn't. And so we began to sing and pray in the rotunda of the Capitol. The Capitol Police came again. And they said, you can't stay in the rotunda of the Capitol. We will have to arrest you. And we'll give you 3 warnings. And so you know what happened. I'm the pastor of Martin Luther King Jr.'s church. I stand in a mighty moral tradition where you don't mind putting your body in the struggle because you know that that's what really counts, standing on the side of truth. and justice and righteousness, come what may. And so they carted us away that day. And now here I am, 3 years later, not protesting in the Senate, but running for the Senate. And I hope that I can run again into those Capitol Police officers. I'm not mad at them. I look forward to seeing them in a few more weeks, because they will not be escorting me to central booking. They will be escorting me to my new office as the next United States Senator from the state of Georgia, where I can translate my protests into public policy, my agitation into legislation, until everybody has access to affordable health care. Until we stop just calling people essential workers, that we actually pay them an essential wage. Provide for them essential benefits. And so don't just vote for me. Vote for affordable health care. Vote for a quality education for all of our children. Because I know that that's what made the difference for me. If it weren't for Pell Grants, low-interest student loans, if it weren't for Head Start and Upward Bound, good federal public policy, I would not be standing here. Personal responsibility, yes, but it takes more than personal responsibility. It also takes good public policy. And don't let anybody shame you when we demand good public policy, when we demand our own resources. Because while they're trying to shame you, they're busy subsidizing the riches of the rich. That's why Kelly Loeffler wants that seat. Why do you think she paid for it? She's an investment professional. She knows a good investment when she sees it. So she is a high net worth Republican donor. She gave millions of dollars. She got that Senate seat. She didn't waste any time helping you to see why she wanted it. When she heard about the coronavirus pandemic, she wasn't thinking about those who were sheltering in. She was busy trying to shelter her own portfolio. Dumped millions of dollars of stock. Profited from the pandemic. Who does that while telling you there's nothing to worry about? Who does that? Forgive me, I'm from the hood. Where I'm from, they say, where they do that at? Playing it down for the people while profiting off of the pandemic. And meanwhile, she thinks that you ought to vote for her to stay in that seat? She invested in that seat and it worked out well for her. Well, the bad news for Kelly Loeffler is this. The folk who sold her that seat don't own that seat. It belongs to the people of Georgia. And come January 5th, the people of Georgia are coming to get their seat back. Are you ready to take your seat back? That's your seat. That's your seat. As we say in church, tell your neighbor, that's your seat. Take your seat back. That's what it means to live in a democracy. It is government of the people and by the people and for the people, said Abe Lincoln. And come January 5th, we're coming to take our seat back. And so they can slice and dice my record as much as they want. The reason they got something to talk about is I've been out here fighting for a long time. They actually have something to talk about because I've been busy standing up for the people. taking my sermons and copying them and pasting them. Man, I've been preaching since I was 12 years old. And that's the best you got? You got to take a sentence here and there and pull it together and create a lie, lying on me, lying on my church, lying on the faith, lying on Jesus. We've been out here standing up for a long time. And I'm grateful to be here with Yusuf Salam, because last year my church organized a conference focused on ending mass incarceration. Now let me be clear about what we mean by that. Now some folk need to be in jail. In order to have a secure nation, some folk need to be there. But the United States of America warehouses 25% of the world's prisoners. We're 5% of the world. We warehouse 25% of the world's prisoners. No nation even comes close. And much of that is driven by the so-called war on drugs over the last 40 years, which has too often been a war on black and brown communities. And so when we talk about these issues, we talk about them in concert with others. We brought together the police and the activists. She can talk all she wants. I'm the one who brought activists and law enforcement and parents and concerned people and politicians and clergy all together in my church on one night to talk about this. Because we've been doing the work. We've been helping people clear up their arrest records. Folks who've never been convicted of anything can't get a job, can't get housing just because they were arrested. We've been helping them do that. But I can do much more as a United States Senator. If you would send me to D.C., I'll take that same passion and that same commitment in order to stand up for all of our children. So this is what we want: affordable health care, a livable wage, criminal justice reform, environmental justice, great schools for our children. They deserve it. We don't want our seniors to have to decide between buying food and buying prescription drugs. That's what we want. And we have the ability to get it. We need new infrastructure. We need broadband in our rural areas. We need to repair our bridges and our roads and our streets, because our broken infrastructure is a reflection of our broken politics. And so I know this is a difficult time, but I don't want you to give up. I told you all those years ago, my dad used to wake me up every morning. And he said, get up, get dressed, put on your shoes, and get ready. Now, he'd wake me up early in the morning. He'd wake me up at dawn. The thing about dawn is it's morning, but it's still dark. It's dark, but morning is on the way. And he said, I don't know exactly what I'll have you doing, but I just want you to be ready. And so the question, DeKalb County, is, are you ready? Are you ready to win this election? Are you ready to send Daniel Blackman to the Public Service Commission? Are you ready to elect John Ossoff? Are you ready to elect Raphael Warnock? Well, get up, get dressed, put your moral clothes on, put your shoes on, and tell everybody you know to get ready. Tell them to get ready for affordable health care. Get ready for a livable wage. Get ready for infrastructure investment. Get ready for environmental justice. Get ready for public servants who believe that service is the rent we pay for the space we occupy. Are you ready? Well, let's work together. Let's fight together. Let's vote together. Let's stay together. Let's pray together. Whoever we are, wherever we're from many places, but we are one people, one Georgia, one nation, and together we win. God bless you.